Hi guys, hope you're doing great. Well, I wanted to try something new, and this is me trying something new. Not that I don't like reactions anymore, because I do, but recently I've been thinking about how our memory can gloss over the trying times to leave only the good memories of certain events, and not to fall back into the same pattern. I decided to make a sort of a journal entry for myself first, because I want to remember how it was, as close to objectivity and to reality as possible. And the second reason was just to share with you guys, or with somebody else who might stumble upon this channel. Because even though we sometimes seek advice from our friends and family and somebody we know, sometimes it feels like it's more effective to listen to a stranger on the internet talk about the things you're going through. At least that's how it was with me, and this is how I found the strength, not to be overly dramatic, to get back on track with the life that I wanted to lead, that not the life that I, for some reason, thought that I had to live in. To summarize it all, if you don't want to watch, but you've been on this channel for a while, this is not going to be a reaction, sorry. This is going to be me telling you about my journey as on a fruitarian diet. It shouldn't be called a diet, but it was called that, so I'm gonna use this term. Right now I'm thinking of it as a fast, but we'll get into that. So for 15 months I've been hardcore fruitarian, and thankfully I stopped. Of course, then I could not just stop. I switched to another extremity, which was a carnivore, and which was not that bad actually, it was okay. But now my food pattern does not define my schedule, so it's mostly I make my schedule and food is a part of that schedule, versus obsessing kind of over food a little bit. So not to forget how awful and terrible it was, I decided to shoot this video. And in hindsight, I'm thinking I should have kept a diary of my fruitarian journey. Now I'm bittersweet about it. I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because I would have steered and contributed to steering many people wrong, I feel like, because that's how kind of I got into that. But at the same time, I'm kind of sad that I do not have the documented proof of how it was. So if you're into the story time, grab your teas, grab your cokes, get comfortable. My fruitarian journey actually started not with that. I was a vegetarian for 10 something years before that. Then I decided that I really want to quit sugar. But before that, yes, I was a vegetarian, eating eggs, dairy, probably because I was into this spirituality of associated with Buddhism. I kind of know now a bit more about it, not to say that I'm a Buddhist, but I was really into that philosophy, but now I understand it's a bit broader than I thought it was. But nevertheless, that was one of the key principles advertised, I think, in popular culture about Buddhism. So I was into that, also not harming animals. For several years I was that, and then somehow this just wasn't enough. So I decided to just go all in my mind, and going all in meant the cleanest version of a diet that is possible to sustain well-being a human. And fruitarianism was, I think, on the rise, also fasting per se. So I decided to just give it a try. Needless to say, my mom was not happy about the whole concept, but something clicked and I decided that I'll just go for it. Oh, one side note also, my stomach kind of hurt when I was eating meat, and by meat I mean chicken. I specifically remember chicken, so I'm not sure if it was just meat, but chicken, yes. My stomach kind of hurt when I was eating that, but in all fairness, my stomach hurt because of many things. I do not know why I pinpointed precisely meat, but the mind of a teenager, I'm not sure. So it continued for 15 months, and thankfully I got out of it. Something again clicked, but in a good way now, and I switched to carnivore, as I told you, for a year just to compensate for the absence of animal protein, and went back to the regular eating habits, which I'm very happy actually about now. What did you expect? So what are the benefits that were advertised online, again, random people, about this particular lifestyle and this diet? Well, I have a list. I have a beautiful list. Well, first, I have it written down. Of course, appearance. And I'm not lying to myself, kinda. I like aesthetics. I like looking good. I like looking at something that's looking good, and it doesn't matter what it is. It may be nature, it may be people, it may be animals. Just the aesthetic quality needs to be satisfied. Just it has to be satisfied. The promised benefit would have been, if you're sticking to a clean diet, your hair, oh no, don't fall, please, please, please stay, little tiny notebook. Your hair will be great, your skin will look radiant. Of course, the internal system would be so clean that even vanish would not have any effect, because it's that sparkling clean, just that pristine. Maybe not to that extent, but you understand what I mean. You're being all naturel. I'm not sure if it's even French. But you will be natural, but you will still look beautiful. That was the advertised effect. Of course, figure, you won't have to care about what you have already restricted yourself to the point that you don't have that many options, but still you don't care about how much you eat, because I would eat 3 to 5 kilograms of fruit every day, which would translate into roughly like 2,000 calories, and it's kind of a lot, I guess. I mean, sometimes we don't need that much. Especially a girl of kind of my size. I'm not that tall, I'm not that big, I'm just average, I feel like. So the figure would be maintained by itself, and you won't have to think about that. Then you would have no cravings. Sometimes, you know, those days when you do not know what you want. You just know that you want something, and you keep thinking what it is that you want. So, as advertised, it was supposed to be a no craving time ever. Mental clarity, that's the fun one. That's my favorite one. Basically, you just have this, again, I think it's a very related notion of Buddhism to Buddhism. Being undisturbed, being at eternal peace, so to speak. Energy levels, they would not skyrocket, they would not plummet down, they would be adequately stable. Just you will have the energy, you will have great sleep. Last but not least, strength. You will, again, it's these three are kind of coming together: sleep, energy, strength. Again, you will be not the strongest version of yourself, but since you have energy, you will have more time to exercise, and if you exercise, then you can still build muscle. Nope. And that would mean that you're getting stronger. So out of those advertised effects, and by advertised I mean, of course, people who claim to have them, I got some of them with an asterisk. There was not a single one of them from that list that I got in full and complete. I have been waiting for them. And this is why I was kind of postponing making any videos on that. As I told you, I could not present anything, like I could not physically document anything. And now let's break them down. The appearance, the hair and the skin in particular. I really wanted to not have too many wrinkles, and I ended up having too many of them. This corresponds to the second, the figure, because I was losing weight by the second, not even minute, very fast. Even if I had collagen, of which I did not have much, I feel like, would not keep up with the pace of me losing weight. And you will notice that with people who have been losing weight too fast. Then you have all the skin on you. I had the figure, but the skin on that figure was not plump anymore. I would not go to an extent of saying that this was an 80-year-old woman's skin, but it was kind of, it should not have looked as a young girl's skin. So the skin was just not cooperating, especially on my face. To note on that, because I was sticking to a very natural lifestyle, I was not using any sunscreen because I was told that you don't need it. And I mean, I'm still kind of, I don't think we have to use it religiously, but if the sun is strong, just use the sunscreen. But at that time, I was not using anything, any products. I would rinse my face with water and cold water, hot water, that's it. And the hair, I was not, I've been experimenting with the hair process at that time. So it was, I'll show you pictures actually, but I cannot fully attribute the state of the hair to the diet because I was not even using shampoo at that time. So I was using purely water or some other substances. That's the topic for another video. Nevertheless, it was not looking as healthy as I would have wanted it to look. Me being all free from parabens and chemicals and all of that, no. Also, side note, whoever told you that fruit does not have chemicals in them? Cravings. This is something that I've been relentlessly, hopelessly trying to obtain. And it just never happened. There were some good times, but there were at the same time some terrible cravings that I could not just satisfy. For example, the meat texture craving was satisfied sometimes by spinach because spinach has this very meaty, chewy structure. Sometimes I would eat tofu, sometimes. Most of the time I would not have sugar cravings because again, I was eating sugar most of the time, but I would have salt cravings. I really wanted something salty. And soy sauce was not something, it was not a part of the diet. So ideally you would need only fruit and you'll be happy on those alone. Coconuts helped, even though I think I was cheating already on the diet because coconut is a nut. Even though it's a young coconut, it's just water and some coconut meal. It's not a nut as we think of nuts, but still it's not fruit. It's not a fruit technically. So, cheater, fake fruitarian. So that kind of helped. Actually, that helped a lot. When I was in Korea, I was just ordering huge box of coconuts every week or so. And that would get like 20 kilogram box delivered to my dormitory, and they would always be surprised what's inside. It's like, oh my goodness, on the reception, at the reception, oh, what's inside? Like coconuts. It's like, why do you need that many? Well, you don't want to know. I was not advertising this diet. I was at least sane in that department. When I was asked that, I would respond. It's like, oh, I'm trying this thing, let's see how it goes. So thankfully I was a bit skeptical about the whole process, which I'm very grateful for to myself. So of course, cravings, no. Sometimes I would just suppress them and I would just make myself not want things. It's like, oh, no, it's just eat more bananas. You cannot look at them now. Energy levels. You can guess. This one I got. This one is an asterisk. Again, because yeah, I did not need much. I slept well, actually. No change in my sleep patterns occurred. And most of the time, I did not even need a nap. That was okay. But I was pumped on sugar. I was just running around feeling hyped all day, every day. Oh, at the same time, I was doing intermittent fasting. On top of me just starving, I would also starve myself even more, starting to eat from 12 until roughly 6, because if I were to eat something after 8 in the evening, I go to bed at 12 ish, I would wake up at 4 to go to the bathroom, because when you're eating fruits, it's just like water, very little fiber, and it just goes through you, whoosh. And if you have something remotely big, like one orange even, I feel like at 8, and you're never satisfied with one orange, like you have to have at least 1.5, I would go to the bathroom at 4 in the morning, and you would not be able to hold it. That's the thing, it's impossible to hold. Oh, I still remember I was on the way in the bus, and the restroom did not work on the bus, and I had to wait to the next stop, and we got caught in a traffic jam, and a big one, and I just couldn't go. Honestly, my eyes were just popping out because I couldn't bear it any longer. Needless to say, a pair of pants had to be changed. Fun stories being a fruitarian. Yeah, lots of them. Just one of the reasons that I hated was the schedule. Like everything would revolve around me eating. So that would be, when I had time to do something else, I would not have the desire to do anything else. But the food time was a great time. But at the same time, of course, I would have to go to the market and buy, again, since I was eating 3 to 5 kilograms of fruit every single day, and I would not want to go to the market every single day, I would have to carry home at least 15 to 20 kilograms every 3 days. And I'm telling you right now, it ain't pretty. It's not fun. It's not a fun thing to do, and it's tiring. And yeah, of course, these days you can order fruits, and yeah, people tell me like, you can survive on apples and bananas. You get tired of them extremely fast. It would take 2 days for you to eat bananas. I told you, I cannot stand bananas these days. I've eaten too many of them. Even if I go somewhere, I would not take a banana as a snack. No, just give me a sandwich or something. No, I would take anything but that banana. Any other fruit, yeah, not apples. But because I have a retainer, so I don't want to bite too much. But no, not bananas. This brings me to mental clarity. Never, not even once, did I think that something's wrong here. It went to a point that I even convinced myself that I would, that on a day when I cheat or and eat something, I would smear my good karma with something terrible, and on the next day, I will pay for it. In any way, it might be something mild, like somebody's gonna step on my toe in a bus, or something major, it's like something would happen to my friends or loved ones. So not even necessarily to me, the karma would extend. And this was the major reason why I stopped. I noticed that I started to lose all interest to anything. Starting with those with asterisks that I got. On top of that, the great benefit that I received was depression. And it was not that noticeable actually. When I was with people, it was okay. I would be cheerful, I would be just my normal self. But then when I would be alone, nothing would be of any matter. Nothing, because you know that I like music, I like translating songs from different languages to English. These days I'm reading about Victorian society. My gosh, it's like high school. So nothing would be of interest actually. And this was not recognizable until I got out of it. Now that I'm not in that state, I understand that, but back then I just took it as me taking the time to transition into this new and sustainable lifestyle. Don't listen to anybody else. You're on the right track, you're doing everything correctly, and soon everything's gonna be okay. And of course the bowel movement should have been much better, and no body odors would ever enter the conversation. false, false, false. Even the absence of the lady days did not stop me, because I kept trying to find articles that would prove that you do not need those days to ovulate, to have children in the future. I found some, again, random stories on the internet, but the research articles were proving me wrong at every corner, and I refused to listen to them. I even bought some test strips to see if something's happening. Nothing was happening. So basically, as I was told, I reverted to a state of, to a hormonal state of an 8-year-old. Nothing would be exciting, so to speak. And that was actually a very exciting time in my life. And there were so many things to see, so many new experiences to take part in, and everything felt meh. To add to that list, yeah, depression was huge, and this mental clarity was just the absence of any thought. But apparently, as I understand now, but hunger. You're just hungry all day, every day. But you don't understand that because you're convincing yourself that you are not. And this is good. This is good for you. It's coming. The benefits just are right around the corner. You just have to wait another day, just another day. About strength, thankfully I was not exercising that much. I was still running a little bit, and I kept hoping that if I do more, the skin would be not sagging. I was exercising every 2 to 3 times a week, tops. What I was doing every day is doing a handstand, because I wanted to strain my core. And I stopped doing that now, but I think I will pick it up again. And this one time I told everybody that I was too cold, so I fell. But actually I think I was also weak. My arms started to shake, and while I was doing a handstand, I couldn't hold my balance, and I just fell and hurt my knee pretty badly. And I think I scratched my nose, but I did not break any teeth. Yeah, the knee, only the knee got hurt, only. It was the perfect opportunity, actually, to test the diet. This, now, I thought, is the time to finally put this diet to a test. It's like, if the claims are correct, I would be able to heal internally. And don't get me wrong, I do think that fasts can help. Short-term fasts are actually not bad, but they're very dangerous, and you have to do them correctly. I'm not doing them now, but like 24-hour fasts, I think every human can survive without eating for 24 hours. Some dire circumstances, or it could happen. It's fine. We can survive. Not to put our organisms in that stress at any single possible opportunity is better, of course, but we can survive. Meaning you don't have to do them every week, for example. It's like, oh, I have this Wednesday when I don't eat. My grandma used to do that. She told me, but again, I do not know how long she lasted. She would exaggerate a little bit. So she might have done this for several years. She might have done this for several months. She might have done it for several weeks only. I have no idea. By doing it, I mean a 24-hour fast, not a week-long fast. And I have stories actually from my mom's friends, acquaintances that would, actually only one, who would heal himself like that. He had an accident, I think, and his leg, I'm not sure, something got hurt, and he healed himself. I do not remember particularly how he did it, but he did say it was dangerous, and he prepared himself for that. And of course, he was eating normally before, and he was eating normally after. For me, I was already a vegetarian, a malnourished vegetarian, and then I was a very, very, very malnourished fruitarian for several months. This fall came at an 8 months mark, and that was the moment where I thought that this is it. And it just kept not getting better. It just kept hurting and hurting and hurting. Not too much, but the sensitivity was increased dramatically. And even though I would not limp around, it would still not feel great. So that was the first red flag. That was the first time that something shifted in my thoughts towards questioning what I was doing. But no, I continued, I persisted, I blamed everything else but that. I thought I'm not doing it clean enough. So just like, let's step it up. Just no more seaweed, no more nori, no more... Oh, I was eating seaweed when I had cravings. That actually helped. That helped a lot towards the end. And then when I started my degree in Vienna, I had some free time again to explore, because I did not take many courses in the beginning because I was still not sure if I'm continuing, and it was just all very new again. So at that time, it was unbearable. Just being alone again. At least in Korea I had my girls because we live in the same dormitory, but here I did not know anybody at first, which would not be that terrible, but I did not even have any hobbies. That's the thing. When you do not want to do anything, it's very difficult to put yourself in a state when you would want to do something. I hope you know what I mean here. So I had some time and I decided that I would try, you know what's it called? Like telekinesis, and I do think it exists. But at the same time, pragmatically, I think any book that that tells you how to hone the skill or develop the skill of telekinesis is just a great book that helps you focus. So there was this one exercise where you had to just count from 100 to a 0 3 times in a row without stopping, without losing tempo, just 100, 99, 98, 97. And maybe this is a superficial reason to quit. I could not even go as low as 70. I would lose focus. I would just trail away to some other thought. So that was the actual reason for me to completely understand that. Also, I could not count. Simple arithmetics would not be possible. I would just take so long trying to figure out how much 10 or 20% of something is. And it would... Basically, I realized I was getting stupid. Every single task that I would attempt would be more difficult than I remember it being. And I really did not like that, I have to say. So after 15 months, I bought eggs and I ate eggs. The videos of previous fruitarians actually really helped, and many of them actually switched to being a carnivore, and this is what I did. So typical. But then I stopped because it again was it's not bad, but I'm gonna talk about it in another video. But now I'm eating everything and everything's fine. But yeah, so the main thing for me was even not depression. For me, I was getting stupid, but superficially stupid. I would not be able to perform the normal tasks that are very, very, very basic for me. Everything would be difficult. And this is how I stopped. I think I will not get ever back to a state that I was being just a vegetarian, so pre-fruitarian state. But I am still grateful that I have escalated to this extent, because it steered me away from being a vegetarian as well. Not to say that one cannot survive being a vegetarian. I think you can. I actually think you can. Like proper vegetarian, like eggs, dairy, I think you can. Butter. Veganism, in my mind right now, leads to nowhere. I just accepted that I'm a human and humans survived for millions. I think they extended it. And as humans, we do need animal protein. There's no way around it. And as much as I don't like to see animal hurt, but this is the circle of life. Don't do it excessively, don't do it too much or too little, just do it in moderation. And actually, what I discovered is, I think that something that many people know from the very beginning is moderation. I do not take this word lightly now. It's just, it has to be a golden thread across this video. Just once you're doing everything in moderation, it would be okay. So, hope you learned something about me. I don't wish that journey on anybody else. It's a delicious journey for a week, but sadly it's not sustainable at all, guys. But I hope you enjoyed my video, and many more, hopefully, will come because I want to. Okay, bye guys. Coming to you from the future, here to do a short recap of what I talked about and what we actually have here. So we started with, I changed it a little bit right now, but you get the gist. So we had looks, we had no cravings separately, but we had looks, we had mental clarity, we had energy, sleep, we had strength. I also added health in general. So out of the looks, we have face and body. Face, I had no acne because my hormones was on the level of an 8-year-old. I actually had it tested. And I did develop a lot of wrinkles at the time because the skin got very fine. And yeah, especially like here, crow's feet, a lot. There was no glow, the skin has gotten duller. So there was no lush to it, I think, and I prided myself on having it, usually. Hair, it's actually not conclusive because I was doing a no poo at the time, so I'm actually not quite sure if that was all because I did not take good care of it as I was doing before. But yeah, it would not grow still. It would stay at this length, but now it's kind of... It's growing now. I'm happy. But yeah, the diet really did not help much. Then we have our body. I did lose a lot of weight, and I liked that look actually, but yeah, it was not healthy at all. Also the skin, because I did it so fast, lost tightness, so it did not look particularly good in several places, especially above the knee area. No, not really nice. Actually, the nails did not suffer much, but they did suffer, and now they're growing way better. Then we have our spots. I expected, with this diet, I expected the discoloration spots to disappear. Instead, since I was not wearing sunscreen as well, I developed dark spots here. I always had freckles. They went nowhere. But yeah, more dark spots, same discolorated spots. It was the same. Nothing changed in this department. Okay, when it comes to mental clarity, what we expected clarity itself, expected awareness, expected peace of mind, expected focus, no cravings. I don't think I had any of those. I did not have mental clarity nor better awareness. No peace of mind, no focus, lessened focus, and yeah, I definitely did have cravings. As a bonus, I did have apathy and at some point depression. Strength, health, I would say benefits. So I expected my shoulder to heal because I had problems with it as long as I can remember. That did not happen. I hurt my knee. That didn't change much. And yeah, bowel movement, no. I was just a pipe. And body odor, I was testing natural deodorants at that time, but I think I'm not the smelliest person, but not what do they call it? Like Asians have that gene when they don't smell. Yeah, I'm not that. It's like somewhere in the middle. So I was just, it was the usual way, but I would not use any deodorant, so I guess it would smell more. But again, nobody would tell me. Maybe they're being nice or polite. I don't know. Maybe I showered more often. As an addition, I was cold all the time. I did not expect that, but I was cold. Just generally, even in the summertime, I would just be cold. Then I would not have my lady days. And that means I did not have ovulation. Again, I think it was some sort of hormonal disbalance. I did do blood test, urine test, and hormone test. Hormone test, I told you, proved that my hormones are very low. But blood and urine was actually not bad. So that goes to show that you cannot simply rely on tests, sporadic even. And energy sleep, that's one thing I kind of had going on. So I would not lose sleep quality and I would sleep well and my energy levels were stable, but I never had troubles with them before. And again, I was pumped on sugar, so I think that also helped. Unless I would have to wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning because I ate a citrus in the evening as a snack, my sleep would not be disrupted. But overall, energy and sleep were actually not affected much, or I just forgot. And again, if I forgot some things, I think I will add them just here. What's that? Oh, that's my chair. I will just add them here as a list. But yeah, taking this time to reflect, again, brings me back to how grateful I am to my family and friends who were beside me, bearing through my annoying phases. The last one being the most annoying. Actually, it was not the only one. The last one, yeah. But yeah, they were just helping me out, and I'm very grateful to them for being there. I'm not sure they're gonna view this video ever, but it's there. Just their support and their genuine concern helped me look more often internally and ask questions. If this one question, if this is really good for me, like, is this really good for me? Is this the right track? And that helped me snap out of it. So I'm really grateful for that. But yeah, I think this is it.